Thank you.
Within such rhythm, Siabulela. And as we proceed with the program for today, I would like to just share a little writing. They tried to break us. They said, break her, break him, break the bond before it builds. Willie's letter wasn't a myth, it was a manual, a mission to fracture the Black family beyond repair. They taught her, the Black woman, to be strong without softness, to lead without a partner, to mistrust the one who looks like her, because he reminds her of a wound she never asked for. They used her womb, they used her body, they used her magic and told her she was too much, while taking everything she gave. And the Black man, he was never just a man to them. He was a threat before he even breathed. So they broke him early, chained his hands, starved his spirit, mocked his tenderness, until rage was the only thing he could recognize in the mirror. And caught in between, the Black child, taught to survive, not to thrive, taught not through love, but through fear. Taught to run and not to rest, to perform and not to feel. And I was a victim of this scam, raised in silence, on stories half told, and love stretched too thin. I didn't know that dysfunction had a blueprint, but absence had an architect. I thought it was just our way, but it was his plan. Willie said, keep them divided by shade, by sex, by generation, and we obeyed until we didn't. Because now we remember. We remember that family is sacred and that the black father is not disposable, that the black mother is not a mule, that the black child deserves joy and not just survival. So we gather, we restore, we rewrite, we love loudly, we raise each other, we unlearn every lie whispered by the colonizers in dark rooms. Because they tried us, but they failed. And now we build. Give thanks. So I'm gonna take this opportunity and I want us to give that warm, you remember that one Africa now? That's the one I'm looking for us to warmly welcome once again the son of the soil, the global prince of Pan-Africanism, who is here with us. Let us celebrate this moment together with love and understanding of the greater vision that is ahead. So please help me welcome Dr. Ifatunde as he addresses us for today. Please rise up and let us clap our hands, stamp our feet, move our goodie. Right. One Africa now. One Africa now. One people. One aim. One God. One destiny. Rastafari.
Amanla. Mabuye. Africa. Brothers and sisters, it's good to be back in South Africa. It's my first time in 2 years. And ironically, as I was sitting in my chair earlier, I had realized something. And I had realized that my first trip to Africa ever, which took place 20 years ago, July of 2005, as Minister of Education for the Right Excellent Most Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey's UNIA ACL, it brought me to Ethiopia, and then it brought me to South Africa, and then it brought me to Nigeria, and then I finished in Senegal. And while I was sitting in my chair, it dawned on me that I am actually in Soweto almost on the very day that I first came to Soweto 20 years ago, brothers and sisters. So I'm spending my 20th anniversary of visiting the continent where it all started, right here. Brothers and sisters, we have about an hour before I have to head over to Sandton. There's an event this evening at the Sandton Convention Center with myself and Baba Joshua Mapanga, who some of you know. And so if you're interested in attending that event, it's going to be from about 5 until 9, and we'll be heading out at about 4:30 to make sure I get there by 5. Today, I want to talk about the importance of self-determination, because I think that we as African people, despite everything we go through at the hands of the Caucasian, despite everything we go through at the hands of the European, Despite everything we go through at the hands of the colonizer, there is still so much more we should be doing for ourselves. Self-determination. I'm going to start off with a little story by a man by the name of Dr. Booker T. Washington out of America, who was a Pan-Africanist. In fact, Booker T. Washington was the reason the Honorable Marcus Garvey came to America in the first place. Mr. Garvey wanted to build a Tuskegee Institute in Jamaica. But when he arrived in New York, he learned that Booker T had already joined the ancestors. So Garvey decided to go on a fundraising tour, 38 states across America. And at the conclusion of that tour, just prior to his demarcation back to Jamaica, he was asked by the Pan-Africanists in America to stay and build the UNIA up from New York City. A lot of people don't know that one of the reasons Garvey wanted to meet with Booker T was not just about Tuskegee. It was not just about building a school in Jamaica modeled after Booker T's school in America. But Booker T. Washington had held the International Conference of the Negro at Tuskegee Institute. In fact, he held about 2 or 3 international conferences on the Negro. Booker T. Washington was supposed to present at the first Pan-Africanist conference in London in 1900. He raised money for that conference. He advertised for that conference, and he motivated others to attend that conference. Booker T. Washington also sent Tuskegee graduates to Africa to help build up the infrastructure towards the end of colonization and to help with the farming and other needs that our brothers and sisters needed on the continent. But Booker T. Washington was born a slave, West Virginia. His mother was raped by the slave master who owned the family. As a teenager, he decided to walk from West Virginia to Hampton, Virginia, to the Hampton Institute, a historically black college that was built by a white man. And when Booker T. Washington got to Hampton, he couldn't afford to pay the tuition. So he asked for an opportunity to work his way through Hampton. He was given that opportunity. When he graduated, the principal of Hampton received a telephone call from the black community in Tuskegee, Alabama. They wanted to know if he had any graduates who could come to Tuskegee, Alabama and teach black people how to make an independent living after Reconstruction. Because the white man was running us out of town and the Ku Klux Klan was running us out of our lives. And so Booker T. Washington took the job. He went to Tuskegee. And when he got there, there was no college. There was no school, no physical building. He used an old farm, an old church, an old storefront. The first class of students of Tuskegee, when they showed up, they asked Booker T. Washington, where's the lecture hall? Where's the cafeteria? Where's the dormitory? And Booker T. Washington said, you're standing on top of it. And he made the students dig up the ground and make their own bricks. And the students of Tuskegee built their own buildings. They grew their own food. They sold their own clothing. Everything they needed, they did it themselves. And then Booker T. Washington said, I need a science teacher. He heard of a black man by the name of Dr. George Washington Carver, who at the time was considered the top scientist in America. Dr. Carver was being offered contracts by the military, the pharmaceutical industry, Wall Street, car industry. He turned it down and he went to Tuskegee. And when he got to Tuskegee, he asked Booker T. Washington the same question that the students had asked him years before. He said, where's my science lab? Where's my botany clinic? Where's my staff office? And Booker T. Washington, one enslaved African, looked at another enslaved African, and Booker T. Washington told George Washington Carver that all we have is what you see. And Dr. George Washington Carver, without making any excuses, went to the trash dump of the students of Tuskegee. And out of the trash, he took aluminum. Out of the trash, he took wood. Out of the trash, he took copper and tin. Out of the trash, he took metal and paper. And out of the garbage of college students, and you know what kind of garbage can be in the refuse of college students, that black man, born a slave, invented more than 200 products from the peanut. That black man, born a slave, invented more than 300 products from the sweet potato. That black man, born a slave, invented hundreds of products from the soybean. So my question to us today as African people, how is it that we came from ancestors who had nothing and did everything? We got so much and we haven't done much of nothing. When I look back over these past 31 years, since April the 27th of 1994, when they say apartheid fell, I laugh at it. I laugh at it because when I study South African society, the only thing that changed in South Africa was the people who administer the colonization. The oppression is still there. The capitalism is still there. The white rule and domination and exploitation of South Africa's resources are still there. The only thing that changed on April 27th, 1994 is they put black people in place of white people to continue the same system. And they have convinced you, my South African brothers and sisters, just like they convinced us, your American African brothers and sisters, that you can vote yourself out of white supremacy. They have convinced you that you can vote yourself out of exploitation. They have convinced you that you can vote yourself out of neo-colonization. Listen to me well, and I'm not against the vote. I think you should use it strategically. But if voting could change anything, voting would be illegal. You need to understand that the vote is a distraction white people give to black people to make you think you can take back your land and resources without war. I'm going to say it one more time. Because this is why Chris Hani was executed. Chris Hani was executed because Chris Hani said, we haven't won the war yet. If we won the war, we wouldn't be negotiating. He said, let's go back to the bush and finish the war until we win it. But Nelson Mandela was willing to compromise. So Chris Hani had to go because Chris Hani was more popular than Nelson Mandela. And there was rumblings in the ANC that if you don't get rid of Chris Hani, the Youth League will force Mandela out and Chris Hani will be the nominee for ANC president. They couldn't risk it. So Chris Hani had to die. Why? To make sure that the power of South Africa remained in the hands of white folks. Understand something. More South Africans died between 1990 and 1994 than had died from 1948 to 1990. But although so many of us died, and more of us died between 90 and 94 than 1948 and 1990, we were beginning to instill fear in the white power structure. The South African white power structure was beginning to crumble. This is why Nelson had to come out of jail. I'm not telling you nothing you don't already know. And I want to say this because as I travel through South Africa, as I've been traveling through South Africa the past 20 years, and I believe this is my 7th visit, so that's about one visit every 3 years, I hear brothers and sisters condemning the legacy of Nelson Mandela. I understand why, and I don't necessarily disagree. But for me, out of respect for the Mandela who went into prison, I divide his life into two parts. There's Nelson Mandela, the old man who was compromised, who came out, and there was Nelson Mandela, the young freedom fighter who went in. And I will not throw away the legacy of Nelson Mandela, the young freedom fighter who went in, because of what happened to the old man who came out. I'm blaming you, not Nelson Mandela, because we should have been wise enough to know that after spending 27 years in jail, you cannot expect anyone to come out of prison after 27 years and be the same freedom fighter they were when they went in. That was your mistake, South Africa. Just like it was our mistake in America to think of Barack Obama somehow was going to signify change. Listen, When they put black faces in high places, it normally means things are about to get worse, not better. Help me understand. In South Africa, a population of 63 million, over 80% of them are black Africans, us. South Africa is one of the world's largest producers of gold. South Africa is one of the world's largest producers of platinum. South Africa is one of the world's largest producers of iron ore. So help me understand why more than half of South Africa is in poverty. How can the people in one of the most minerally rich countries on earth, 56% poverty, and you're worrying about the next election like that's going to change it? I don't care who wins the next election. I don't care who wins the one after that. I don't care if it's ANC, EFF, DA. Nothing will change until you change the structure of the society. Remember, the hand that pays is the hand that rules. And from what my research is showing me, all of your parties take money from white folks. I don't know one that hasn't taken money from white folks. Whether it's one white person, or whether it's two white persons, or whether it's 100 white persons, all of your parties have been compromised by white money. So if you're waiting for freedom to come through elections, you'll never get it. I told you last time I was here, you better study your American African brothers and sisters in the mistakes we made since the end of slavery in 1865. Because every mistake we made in America, you're making in South Africa. A people who do not learn from their past are doomed to repeat it. We don't need democracy, we need development. We don't need candidates, we need control of our land. Black women, South Africa, 40% unemployed. And yet black women are voting more than black men in South Africa, but yet the employment rate is getting worse, not better. Black youth, 46% in South Africa unemployed, and they wonder why crime is at an all-time high. And now they're trying to brainwash you into demonizing our youth as if they're the problem. Understand something. Poverty is the soil from which crime grows. If you don't address poverty, don't talk to me about criminal behavior. As long as there's poverty, there will be criminal behavior. And if you want to do something about poverty, you have to do something about the school system in South Africa. Don't you let no politician tell you they want to do something about crime and they're not making the schools better. The mother of all crime is miseducation. You don't eliminate crime without better schools. I'm an educator and a school psychologist. Trust me, I know. And if the mother of all crime is miseducation, the father of all crime is economic castration. 46% of South Africa's black youth unemployed, can't find a job, but the white kids in South Africa ain't got that problem. The Dutch, the British, they ain't got that problem. I see Indians coming to South Africa living better than black South Africans. When I walk through the streets of Durban, I can hardly see a black person. I think I'm in India some damn way. They own the whole city. And they exploit Shaka Zulu's name for tourist dollars when they don't care nothing about the man or his legacy. Brothers and sisters, you got to start asking serious questions of your political parties and their representatives. 3 questions I would ask. If I'm living in South Africa, the next time somebody comes around looking for a vote from Dr. Umar, I got 3 questions. Number 1, what are you going to do to economically empower the everyday South African man and woman so they can build their own business? Because jobs is over, brothers and sisters. We need entrepreneurship. Jobs is over. And every one of you in this room right now, if you had enough capital to start your business, you may never need another loan in your life. But you need the capital. The problem with the South African government, like the problem with every other government in Africa, we do not invest in indigenous black businesses. When the Indian shows up, he shows up with a line of credit from India. When the Arab shows up, he shows up with a line of credit from one of the Arabian states. When the Dutch show up, they show up with a line of credit from the Netherlands. When the British show up, they show up with a line of credit from England. And when the Chinese show up, they show up with a line of credit from Beijing. And guess what, y'all? If South Africa, the government, doesn't invest in black South Africans, you can predict with certainty a day in the future where your whole country will be owned by aliens. Because nobody's stopping the Chinese from their incursions in South Africa. Nobody's stopping the Indians from their incursions in South Africa. Nobody's stopping the whites from their incursions in South Africa. And I gotta say this. A couple of weeks ago, when President Cyril Ramaphosa visited Donald Trump at the White House, a few hours from where I live, and Donald Trump sat up there and talked about the South African land grab, how it was a criminal operation to take back land from white folks. And I was a little disappointed in President Ramaphosa because he did not take the time to put Donald Trump's false allegations in historical context. How did you get the land in the first place? He sat there like a child and let his white daddy talk to him. Am I wrong? And I'm staring at the TV like, when is he going to open his mouth and check this cracker? He never did. You don't let nobody talk about your people like that when you know what they're doing is right. See, one thing you got to understand about Caucasians, the ones in South Africa, the ones in America, the ones all over the world, white people do not like to put black problems in historical context. Let me say it again. I need y'all to stay with me, brothers and sisters. Whenever you talk to a white person about a black problem, I don't care if it's teenage pregnancy in South Africa. I don't care if it's crime in Durban. I don't care if it's unemployment in Pretoria. Any problem that we suffer from, white folks don't ever want to do a history. You know why they don't want to do a history? Because if you do a history on black crime, if you do a history on black unemployment, if you do a history on black poverty, the further back you go, the more clearer the criminal becomes. So what do they tell you in South Africa? What do they tell you in South Africa? They tell you, stop worrying about the past. Don't they? Apartheid is over. It's been 30 years. When are black people in South Africa going to stop talking about the past? But y'all don't tell the Jews that. And what I know is during the embargoes against South Africa in the early 1990s, although America had an embargo and although other countries had an embargo, guess who continued to support the apartheid regime until the end? The state of Israel. Did y'all know that? Even though America said we won't do business with South Africa, America continued to give money to Israel, and Israel was funding the apartheid regime. So-called holy people. So, brothers and sisters, you have to understand your history so you can help our children make sense of the present. Because I'm going to tell you the one good thing I like about South Africa right now. And you know what that is? Of the 63 million in South Africa, nearly half of them are under the age of 30. You know why that's good news? If you're a revolutionary, that's good news. If you're a Pan-Africanist, that's good news. If you believe in self-determination and nation building, that's good news. Because what that tells me is nobody owns the minds of the children yet. So if we start organizing the children under 30 right now, in 10 years, we have our own slate to run for the next president. Organize them now. Don't wait until they go to the university and get corrupted. Don't wait until they get drafted by the South African black bourgeoisie. And let me say this. Y'all have a black bourgeoisie. Y'all have a very serious black bourgeoisie. And a big reason why you haven't made more progress these past 31 years since April 27th, 1994, so-called free and democratic elections. The reason you ain't made more progress is because the house Negroes that they put in place to maintain the status quo. Oh, yes. You know why I got quiet in here when I mentioned the house Negroes who maintain the status quo? Let me tell you why I got quiet. It gets quiet when I say the same thing in Brooklyn. It gets quiet when I say the same thing in Houston. It gets quiet when I say the same thing in Kingston, Jamaica. It gets quiet when I say the same thing in Oakland and LA. It gets quiet when I say the same thing in Australia, in London, in Paris. You know why? Because some of y'all related to them house Negroes. You know why? Some of you best friends with them house Negroes. You know why? Some of you went to school with them house Negroes. You know why? Some of you go to bed with them house Negroes. The reason why the global African world is still being exploited by white power is because black people refuse to expose their own who cooperate with the status quo because of a personal relationship. Oh, yes. It's the biggest reason why we ain't made more progress in South Africa. Because one of them house Negroes is somebody you love. It might be your mother. It might be your father. It might be an uncle, an aunt, a cousin, a best friend. And you say you believe in South African liberated. You say you want the soil of South Africa to return to its children. But how serious are you? Do you really want South Africa free? Or do you just want to be comfortable within the status quo? Because guess what? 1 out of every 3 of you in here today, you talk black power. You talk Sabukwe, and you talk Biko, and you talk Honey, and you talk Winnie, but you ain't about that life. You're really just looking for a better place. Oh, you think I'm lying? Respectfully, let's look at some of your leaders in the ANC over these past 31 years. 31 years ago, they was risking their life, wasn't they? 31 years ago, they was in the bush dying and fighting. 31 years ago, they was about that life until they tasted power. And once they tasted power, it corrupted their revolutionary spirit. Once they tasted money, it corrupted their revolutionary spirit. Once they tasted leisure, it corrupted their revolutionary spirit. Once they were no longer forced to eat in the ghettos of Alexandria or the ghettos of Soweto, once they was able to go eat out in Santon and eat out in Melrose, it changed the way they felt about the freedom struggle. One of the things I respect about Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso is the fact that he wears the same clothes every day like Thomas Sankara. There's a reason you do that. There's a reason you don't change the way you live when you're a true activist for the people. Because you got to make sure that people know that although my circumstances is changing, my way of life and my mindset is still where you are. Brothers and sisters, when are we going to start holding Black South African independent study group for the young people? If I'm in South Africa, I'm going to divide the youth up from 12 to 30 because that's the future. 12 to 17, we got a rites of passage for you and a study group. 18 to 24, we got a rites of passage for you and a study group. 25 to 30, we got a rites of passage for you and a study group. I wouldn't dare let the bourgeoisie or the white power structure steal another mind of our children. Because if we don't take them children back, there is no future. Because they're the warriors. They're the politicians. There's the business persons of tomorrow. Show me who's raising your children, and I'll tell you who will be your slave masters. South Africa. South Africa. There's so much y'all could be doing that we're not doing. And I'm not talking about armed struggle. That's going to come, but that's the last analysis. Fighting is never the first. And be wary of those who want to run out and fight. You know why? Because your brothers and sisters who are filled with anger, if all they got to offer is anger, when we're done fighting the white man, they will turn and fight you too. You've seen it all over Africa. Be careful of those who always want to fight. Because guess what? It don't take nothing to tear something down, but it take a whole lot of love to build something up. In America, when they killed Breonna Taylor, in America, when they killed Michael Brown, America, when they killed Tamir Rice and Freddie Gray and Philando Castile and Amir Locke, we rioted, we burned, we tore down. But guess what? I can't name one institution we built because of their deaths. You don't have to love anybody in South Africa to tear something down, but you got to love everybody in South Africa to build something up. My question for Soweto, my question for Pretoria, my question for the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape, Durban, KwaZulu, what are we going to build by ourselves for our children? That's the question. I don't want to hear about what the government going to do. I don't want to hear about the next election, because we do the same thing in America. Donald Trump's in office, right? So your brothers and sisters across the pond, they waiting for the next election so they could put a Democrat back in, as if that's going to change anything. What you waiting for, Black America? You $2 trillion. Black America is the 10th richest economy in the world, and we waiting for a new president. You know why? Because just like many of you here, we want to spend our money on hair. We want to spend our money on weed. We want to spend our money on clubbing. We want to spend our money on white restaurants. We want to spend our money on white clothing. You don't want to be free. You want to be comfortable. And the greatest thing that colonization convinced us, I don't care where you live in the world, whether you in South Africa, whether you in Mozambique, whether you in Botswana, whether you in Lesotho, whether you in Namibia, whether you in Jamaica or Haiti or Turks and Caicos or the Bahamas, whether you in Brooklyn or Harlem or Detroit or Chicago, whether you in Toronto or London or Paris or Melbourne, Australia. Most of us have been convinced by white people that we cannot overcome white power. And most of us have made up our minds that the best thing I can do is become an imitation of my oppressor. That's what most of you are doing. What do you do when you get a good job in South Africa? You move into a white suburb, don't you? You can't wait to get out of Soweto. But Soweto is the power base. You can't have Black power unless Black people live together. The power is in the group. If everybody keep moving to Melrose and Sandton, there won't be no Black power. You got to stick together. But the problem is, victims of slavery and colonization, which means everybody. Victims of slavery and colonization, which means everybody. We want three things that we don't like to admit. We want white proximity. We want closeness to white people. We want to be up under their ass all day. Where they eat, we want to eat. Where they live, we want to live. Black men, y'all can't wait to get you some pale vagina. It makes you feel better. You feel equal to the white man by having his white woman. Yes, you do. I see you bunny hopping around Johannesburg. You ain't nothing but a token for that white girl. And when she's done using you, she's going to hit you with a lawsuit. Shannon Sharp, Smokey Robinson. Brothers and sisters, we want proximity to whiteness. We want imitation of whiteness. You want to be them. And you know, most of all, you want to be validated by white people. Yes, you do. We love white people. Black women, why are we still wearing weaves and perms? You love white people. Black people, why is Jesus still white in South Africa? You love white people. The hell is there white Jesus doing in Soweto? But he there? Yes, he there. I remember I keynoted a fundraiser in South Florida for the Marcus Garvey School of Jamaica, I think it was. And a brother told me a story. He said, Dr. Umar, listen to this. My church in Jamaica has a white Jesus. I went out and got the best Black artists in Jamaica to paint a Black Jesus. I brought the Black Jesus to church and told the pastor, we got a Black Jesus. You can get rid of that one. And the pastor told him, this white Jesus belongs to this church. You can get rid of the Black one. We love white people. And people get mad at me for talking about the snow bunny crisis. Why can't people love who they want to love? Well, guess what, South Africa? If you think white people genuinely love you, they genuinely care about you, they genuinely feel for you, let me ask you a question. Why is the bedroom in South Africa the only place they show it? Why we don't see white love in the banks when you're trying to get a bank loan for your business? Why we don't see white love in the banks when you try to get a home loan for your home? Why we don't see white love in the banks when you're trying to get a loan to send your child to a better school? If white people love Black South Africa so much, why is the only place we see it is one of our women are on their backs? They don't love you. They using your dumb ass. When are you going to wake up and smell the coffee? We don't have no friends. I don't know what it's going to take for African people to accept this. You don't have no friends. The Arab is here to use you. The Indian is here to use you. The Jew is here to use you. The Anglo-Saxon is here to use you. The Chinaman is here to use you. Nobody's in South Africa to help Black South Africans. We are on our own. But guess what? We don't need nobody's help. There's enough of you. South Africa is predominantly Black. It ain't even close. You got 8% crackers. That's it. You got 8% so-called coloreds, Black people who want to be white. But guess what? Once we get organized, once we start building our own factories across South Africa, once we start building our own distribution centers across South Africa, once we start opening our own supermarkets across South Africa, once we start opening our own independent schools across South Africa, those coloreds will start being Black Africans again. The reason they're colored is they don't have a reason to want to be Black. The minute you start showing pride, the minute it looked like Black South Africa's on the move, a whole bunch of people who said they wasn't Black are going to start claiming it again. It's the same thing in America. You see your brothers and sisters over there psychologically confused, some of them, not most, but some, talking about they Native Americans. I'm a Cherokee Indian. Your ass is crazy. They won't even let you on the damn Indian reservation. I'm a Cherokee. I'm a Choctaw. I'm a Seminole. And all those Indian tribes used to own Black slaves. Nigga, shut up. But when you ain't proud to be African, when you don't like who you are, you will grab something else. Oh, I'm an Asiatic something. I'm a this, I'm a that. Anything but Black, because you see nothing but shame. But that's why I love the words of the right, excellent, most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who said, the white man made being Black a sin. We will remake Black to be a blessing. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to be white. I love being African. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to be a Jew. I love being African. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to be an Arab or an East Indian or a Chinaman. I love being what God made me. Are you aware that we are the only people in the world who have 0% Neanderthal DNA? The African is the only true Homo sapiens sapien on the planet Earth. Every other race has Neanderthal DNA. You're the only one who don't have Neanderthal DNA. They not like us. So Black man, why you want to go and plant your seed in the womb of the Neanderthal? You hate yourself so much, you want your baby to be born with Neanderthal DNA. Why would I want to put an African king or queen in the belly of an oppressor? Look at the self-hate. Brothers and sisters, as I prepare to wrap up, because I want to leave time for Q&A, I don't get to come to South Africa often. That 19-hour flight is a hell of a flight. But I'll take it anytime for you. But I want to leave time for Q&A. But let me close by saying this. First of all, let me give you my phone number if you don't have it, in case you need to reach Dr. Umar by WhatsApp. I'm going to repeat my number 3 times. Black parents, if you have issues with your children, send me a message. Be careful with the vaccinations. I don't know what the South Africa law says about vaccinations, but I'm telling you right now, The measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination is the trigger for autism in Black children. I'm going to say it again. The measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination is the trigger for autism in Black children. Stop vaccinating your babies if you can help it. Y'all have autism in South Africa y'all didn't have when I came here 20 years ago. Y'all got autism in South Africa y'all didn't have 50 years ago. 100 years ago, you probably never even had a single autistic Black child in the whole Republic of South Africa. And now, I think it's 1 out of every 50 South African babies are autistic. Vaccinations and drugs disguised as food. You better start growing your own. Lee, who grow their own food in here? Raise your hands if you grow your own. Give them a round of applause, brothers and sisters. You know what we need to start right here? We need to have a Black South Africa food co-op. Those who grow in food need to teach 10 others how to grow that food. And once a month or once a season, all the food is brought here so our community can buy real food. Because guess what Bill Gates is up to? Bill Gates is all around Africa right now. He's all up in the face of the African Union. And guess what Bill Gates is trying to do in Africa right now as I'm standing here? He's trying to get the African Union to pass a policy that forces all indigenous farmers throughout the entire continent to only grow with genetically modified organisms. GMO, cancer-causing crop. So if you grow your own food, save some of those organic seeds. You're going to need them. Because Bill Gates and the international agribusiness cartel, they want to eliminate your ability to grow with real food. And why are they doing this? It ain't just about making money. It's because when you grow GMO food, it erodes the soil. GMO seed erodes the soil and it only grows one time. So you have to buy it every season and you can't plant it in the same place. They're talking about continent-wide genocide, y'all. Continent-wide genocide. I was disappointed in some of my South African brothers and sisters during COVID. I saw some of y'all lined up to get the COVID shot. Are you out of your damn mind? You don't take nothing white people give you. And South Africa was one of the only countries in Africa that forced its citizens to take that shot. Don't you take no vaccinations. Those vaccinations are being rigged with time-release cancer, time-release heart attack, time-release stroke, time-release hysterectomy. Please stop taking vaccinations. Improve your diet and improve your exercise. You don't need white man chemicals. Brothers and sisters, I want to close by saying this. African people globally got 3 threats right now. White supremacy has given us 3 threats. What are the 3 threats? Number 1, the land threat. They want to make African people in Africa a landless population. Are y'all listening to me? They can't do it overnight. They can't do it in 10 years, but they might can do it in 30. If we don't stop letting non-blacks come into South Africa and call this country home, your great-grandchildren may not have a home in South Africa. Nothing bothers me more in that South African Constitution than that line that says South Africa belongs to everybody in it. How can you invade, steal, rob, kill, break into somebody's house and then be invited to stay as a guest? You've never seen that. That Truth and Reconciliation Commission, rest in peace, Desmond Tutu. I know he did his best, but I've never seen a people guilty of genocide be able to walk away free just by admitting what you did. You got Jews still looking for Nazis right now. And when they find a Nazi, they getting persecuted and they going to jail. But if you're a white man in South Africa guilty of crimes against black people, just confess. And you suffer no punishments. South Africa, I'm going to tell you something. I've spoken all over the world. I've been to every coast on this continent. If Africa is to rise, you will play a major role. This is not the first time I've said this. I've said it 1,000,001 times. It doesn't mean you're more important than the other Africans on the continent, but you have a uniquely different struggle because you're the last to end your colonialism. You're the last. Ghana got their freedom in 67. Congo got theirs in 60. You didn't get yours until 1994, so you struggled longer and you struggled harder to get it. And that revolutionary fight that is in the blood of the South African will be necessary to help Africa become an independent continent. You're not just planning for South Africa, brothers and sisters. What you do here will reverberate around the continent. Look at how small Burkina Faso is compared to South Africa. Look at how small Burkina Faso is compared. Look at how small. And everything Ibrahim Traoré does reverberates around the continent. Imagine when South Africa is really free. Imagine when South Africa really owns its own land. Imagine when you control your gold and you control your platinum and you control your iron and you control your diamonds. Imagine the confidence that a free South Africa will give to the entire continent. Brothers and sisters, please bring back the study group movement for the young people. You also need to bring it back for the adults. YouTube killed the study group movement. When did we get YouTube? 2004, 2005. I still remember it. We had study group at the UNIA in North Philadelphia, my hometown. And soon when YouTube came, nobody wanted to come to the community center and study together no more. We just stay home and watch videos. But you know what the problem with staying home and watching videos? You can't organize staying home and watch videos. You can't strategize staying home and watching videos. Get up off your ass and come in here and let's talk. Let's debate. Let's strategize. And stop saying, I'm tired of going to meetings, Dr. Umar. I'm tired of going to meetings. All we do is talk. We never do nothing. I agree with you. But the meeting ain't the problem. The problem is that your meetings are disorganized. Y'all let people talk about stuff that's not on the agenda. Y'all let people get into arguments during the meetings. Y'all don't have a sergeant of arms to throw people out if they don't want to respect the process and protocol and focus of the meeting. Chinese meet, Arabs meet, the Boers meet, the British meet. Everybody meets. You got to meet too. But the difference between you and them, they organize their meetings and you let yours to disintegrate into a contest of two petty egos. I close with a quote from my ancestor, Frederick Douglass. My family was brought to America in 1701, black man stolen from Nigeria. He was brought to Talbot County, Eastern Shore, Maryland. He married a black woman by the name of Selah, for whom my 14-year-old daughter is named. In 1745, Grandmom Selah had Grandmom Jenny. In 1774, Grandmom Jenny gave birth to Grandmom Betsy 2 years before Thomas Jefferson declared independence from Britain. Grandma Betsy married a free black man, Grandpa Isaac. They had 12 children. One of them was named Betsy. Another one was named Young Betsy, my 5 times great-grandmother. These sisters were raped by the slave master who owned our family. As a result of that rape, in February of 1818, Aunt Harriet gave birth to the greatest black leader in American history. His name was Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey. At the age of 20, Cousin Fred ran away from slavery, out of Baltimore, through Delaware, up into PA and on to New York, and he changed his name to hide his identity on the fugitive slave trail. So in 1838, Frederick Bailey became Frederick Douglass. In 1819, his half-brother and first cousin was born of a rape. My 4 times great-grandfather, Stephen Henry Bailey. Frederick and Stephen were brothers because the slave master was their daddy, but they were also cousins because the slave master raped both sisters. My grandpa Stephen married my grandmom Caroline. She was also enslaved on Talbot County, Maryland. Their firstborn child was my 3 times great-grandfather, George Washington Bailey, who would become the first black public school teacher in Denton, Maryland. When the Civil War begins, my grandpa Stephen and my grandpa George fought in the United States of Colored Troops, 9th and 19th Regiment of Maryland. Frederick Douglass didn't fight, but he sent 2 sons, my cousins Lewis and Charles. They fought in the Boston, Massachusetts 54th Colored Regiment. If you ever seen the movie Glory, starring Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman, that's the story of my cousins, Lewis and Charles Douglas. But the son of Major Dr. Martin Robinson Delaney, grandfather of Pan-Africanism, who said Africa for the Africans, that Robert Sobukwe would use as a motto with the Pan-Africanist Congress. His son was in that 54th Massachusetts. Sojourner Truth, the first black woman to win a lawsuit in court against a white man for freedom, her grandson was in the Massachusetts 54th. When the Civil War was over, Grandpa George married Grandma Manny. They had Grandma Caroline. She moved to Philadelphia. She had Grandma Vivian. Grandma Vivian married a Spanish-speaking Afro-Cuban from Havana, Cuba. They had my grandmom Ida. My grandpa Ida met James Johnson. They had my father Jamal Johnson. He met my mother Barbara, and in the ghettos of North Philadelphia. A 10-minute drive from where the U.S. Constitution was written. A 10-minute drive from where they used to whip black slaves out in front of Independence Hall for running away. And they got the nerve to tell you America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. That's a damn lie. I was born August the 21st, anniversary of the Haitian Revolution, anniversary of the George Jackson Revolution, anniversary of the Nat Turner Revolution, and the original birth date of Jesus the Christ, August 21st. Frederick Douglass said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom but deprecate agitation are like men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain but can't stand the thunder or the lightning. They want the ocean, but they're scared of the roar of the waves. Frederick Douglass said, a man may not get all he pays for, but you will pay for everything that you get. And if South Africa is to ever be free, you yourself will have to strike the first blow. Frederick Douglass said, for 20 years, I prayed on my knees to God for freedom. But the good Lord gave Frederick no freedom until I got up off my knees and start praying with my feet. He said, if you want respect from white people, why do you look for pity? The man who pities you will never respect you, and the man who respects you has no need for pity. The right, excellent, most honorable Marcus Garvey said, without confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. But with confidence, you have won even before you have started. Marcus Garvey said, the greatest weapon used against African people is disorganization. Garvey said, we don't suffer because we black. We suffer because we black and disorganized. Marcus Garvey said, if the black man and woman are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and you will die from the effects of it. Somebody once asked Garvey, are you an African or are you a Jamaican? Are you an African or are you a Jamaican? And that short, fat black man from St. Anne's Bay, Jamaica, looked up, built the largest black organization in modern history. He looked up and he said, you asked me, am I African or am I Jamaican? And I tell you, I would never, ever, ever give up a continent for an island. I am an African. Black power. South Africa, I love you. So we're going to go right into the Q&A. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'm going to give you a number. Do not give a speech because we want to give as many people in as possible. I'm going to go male, female to keep the balance. My brother, you're number one. Sister, you number two. My brother right here, you number three. Is there another sister or no? If not, I'm going to stick with the brothers. No other queens with a question? Okay, sisters is chilling today. You three. I gave you three. I'm sorry. You're three. You're four. Black hat with the white trim, you five. Let's do five and see where we at when we're done. Go ahead, brother. I will repeat the question. I hear you. I'll repeat it.
Greetings, my fellow Africans. Okay. All right.
Stand up, brother.
All right. Okay. Greetings, my fellow Africans. Greetings, Dr. Umar.
Yes, sir.
We've got a leadership void, not just in South Africa, but the world over.
Stop right there.
Okay.
Don't forget your question. Let me say this.
Okay.
Big difference between Africans and everybody else. Chinese train their leaders. Jews train their leaders. Arabs, Indians, Anglo-Saxons train their leaders. Black people pray for our leaders. When are we going to start training our leaders instead of praying for our leaders? I have no problem with you being a Christian or a Muslim or a Hebrew or whatever you into, but you need to understand something. The Bible in the Quran is not a textbook on the destruction of white supremacy. What we got to do, the answers ain't in those books, they in your mind. You ain't Abraham, you ain't Moses, you ain't Jesus, you ain't Noah. You live in racist South Africa. If you want real leadership, create it. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, as I was saying, we've got a leadership void the world over, probably worse than ever. And I think part of the reason is because our people don't know how to identify good leadership. And I think that was
and we got prelude. 1 foot in. We got 1 foot in white supremacy, and we got 1 foot in black independence. See that? So we never full-time Africans. We always part-time Africans.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, we want to struggle for freedom, right? And then on the other hand, we want to enjoy the fruits of white society. Do y'all hear that? One hand, I want to protest against violence in South Africa. On the other hand, I want to wear the most expensive European-made goods. You can't serve two masters. You are either for South African independence or you are for participation in a white power structure. Go ahead.
So what I'd like to ask you is to maybe give us a brief criteria, because there's certain traits, there's certain patterns that you can recognize with the Coons, with the house Negroes that a lot of our people don't recognize. Mm-hmm. What would you say, we need to look out for when we're picking our leaders? What boxes do they need to check? I know you've spoken about it a lot in some of your other talks, but I think this is something that our fellow Black people need to pay attention to, so that we don't get so easily manipulated into, false hope and ushering in a new leadership that will just continue to perpetuate the exact same thing.
3 stages. Where is the leadership training school? It don't have to be a beautiful building. It could be this room. When are we going to train the future South African revolutionaries of tomorrow? That's number 1. When are we going to start? Because if you don't start soon, the black bourgeoisie and the white status quo is going to steal all of our babies' minds. And once they get them, you will never get them back. So when are we going to start training the leaders? That's 1. Number 2, when is South Africa going to dig in our pocket and finance the people we want to run for office? A big contradiction in the black world is we will vote, but we don't finance. If you're running to be the next president of South Africa, if you got to go and get your money from a white bank, if you got to go and get your money from a Jewish mining company, if you got to go and get your money from an Indian corporation, you will not carry out a black agenda. You are compromised because you was financed by your enemy. If we want anybody to stay loyal to us, we have to finance them. That's 2. So 1, you're going to train them. 2, you're going to finance them. And the easiest part is stage 3, get them elected. The election is the easy part. If you trained them and financed them, you got them. The problem is we don't train them. White people and bourgeoisies train them. We don't finance them. White people and black bourgeoisies finance them. And then when they get into office and sell us out, we angry. What you angry for? Did you train them? Did you finance them? All you did was vote for him. You deserve to be traded on. Number 2.
Over here.
Queen,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So I want us to unpack this thing when we talk about moving out the township and the projects. If the townships were a concentration camp created by white people for black people, why should we continue to stay in those circumstances? It is not naturally that we would want to get out and not be so confined, because even the yards here are small, and because of the poverty, there's a lot of jealousy. And so how do we work around this thing where we create new neighborhoods, or how do we uplift these townships projects?
The ghettos of America were built by the US government. Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, Oakland, they were built by the government. So what? If we are in the majority there, why break up that nucleus? Unless you have a better place. Now, if you say, Dr. Umar, here's a piece of land we can buy if we come together. Better land, better soil, better everything, then we move. But if we can't get it cheaper, and if we can't get it more conveniently than Soweto, then we lock Soweto down and make it ours. White people have made a whole living of going into places that wasn't theirs and turning it into their home. Why can't we turn Soweto into our home? But for what I'm hearing from the brothers and sisters in Soweto, we didn't mess around and waited so long that now they coming in there pushing us out of Soweto. Is that true? People telling me that in 5 years, Soweto won't be Soweto. It'll be Soweto, but it won't be black people in it. We have to choose a piece of land and make it our own. And one of the first things we need to do is we need to create a council of elders, people y'all trust, who are 65 and older. And if we don't have that many, then you drop it down to 60. And if we ain't got that many, you drop it down to 55, because I know in South Africa, one of our smallest populations are our elders, because they killing them off through poor food and horrible health care. Right? So we need a council of elders, and then we need our own community oversight board elected by the people to legislate and plan for the things we need: food, healthcare, education, employment, mental health, conflict resolution, so forth and so on. We got to get organized. There's no need to leave Soweto unless we got a better place to go. You feel me? If there's a better place, you take it. You take it. But if our people ain't got the money to pick up and move, we need to lock down where we are and buy everything that is there. The problem with us is not that it's hard. The problem is most of us are not committed to winning as a team. We don't believe in teamwork. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We still got little petty Zulu Xhosa conflicts. We still got little petty Swazi Zulu I hear about it when I go through South Africa. Still fighting amongst each other while the white man running away with all the damn resources. Ain't you tired of that? Yeah. Everywhere I go, there's some petty tribal fight. When I'm in Nigeria, it's the Igbo and the Yoruba. When I'm in Kenya, it's the Maasai and the Kikuyu. When I'm in South Africa, it's the Zulu and the Xhosa. Get over it. Create a reconciliation board. Because when you die, they can't tell if the bone is Zulu or Xhosa. That's an African bone. When they see your nappy hair, they can't tell if it's Zulu hair or Xhosa hair. It's African hair. God made us African. We made ourselves everything else. And nothing's wrong with the kingdoms, but use them as weapons of construction, not weapons of destruction. Empress, I'm running over. She said, my cup runneth over. So I'm going to take one more for the sake of time. Go ahead, King.
Peace and Black Consciousness family. I actually had a dream of you owning a farm in Africa.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully that.
Bless.
So in terms of training.
And when we open our school, Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey, I'm going to bring the students over here so y'all can train them on some of that indigenous African farming techniques. And I also want to buy one of your schools so we can build FDMG South Africa. I tried to do this 10 years ago. And I spoke with some of the elected officials, and none of them would help me find out what schools were for sale for how much. So if any of you have contacts, find Dr. Umar, here's a school for sale. This is what it costs. We will buy a school and start the school. Help me find it. I can't come here and look myself. You got to bring it to me, and we'll buy it and turn it into a
That
school.
was actually the question.
I'm going to turn the mic over to the Empress because she's telling me my time is up. And she has on the red, black, and green, so I got to listen to her.
Yes. Welcome me, party to part with the questions
Dr. Ifatunde has shared his number with you. Please,
Let me give it to him again, real quick, mama. I thought I did, didn't I? Oh, outside. I got ADHD. And speaking of ADHD, do not put your children on psychiatric meds. Do not give them Ritalin. Do not give them Adderall. Do not give them Concerta. Do not give them Metadate. Do not give them Cyclert. Those drugs will fry your child's brain. Do not give them drugs. Okay? Teach them discipline, not medication. +1 215 989 9858. Twice more. +1 215 989 9858. Last time. To get that plus, you just hold down your 0 until the plus pop up, okay? Hold down the 0 until the plus pops up. +1 215 989 9858. Black Power.
glory, glory, and honor, give thanks for the moment, for the royal Black Dr. Ifatunde, for everything good said and done. Unfortunately, he is running out of time. He has another address in Sentin, so we have to try to save time so that he can be able to go and honor his agreement on the other side to share by the glory, same way as he has invested his energy to share with us today. So I'd like for us to stand up again and, clap our hands, stamp our feet, and give thanks and praise.
This is what I want to do. Ja Rastafari. If we can do this quickly, brothers and sisters, and just move the chairs out the way, I want us all to hold hand. Brother, sister, brother, sister, brother, sister. I want to close out in a universal prayer for African people. Can we do that? Brother, sister, one big circle. Black Power. Come on, y'all. Nice and quick. Nice and quick. Turn inward. Turn inward. Turn around and face them. Turn around, Queen. I need another queen. Come on, y'all. Nice big circle. Everybody in. Everybody in. Brother, sister, based on your gender at birth. We ain't playing no games. Brother, sister, if we can. Come on in. My Zulu drummers, get on in this circle. We're not doing 2 circles. We're doing 1 circle. We're not doing 2 circles. We're doing 1 circle. What's the name for God in Zulu? What's the name for God in Zulu? I mean, give me something simple. What's the one in Kosa?
Okay, that's Kosa. Nkulunkulu.
In Kulukulu. Get them babies in the circle.
Before we continue, sir,
Yes.
I do have an announcement here. There is someone outside with a Toyota Corolla BH4 9SWZN. I'm not sure if anyone in here.
BH4 9SWZN. BH Black Hell if they tow your car. Go get it.
Right? You have a puncher. So I suggest before it gets dark, maybe go attend to it. If anyone in here is within the car registration limits.
All right. Can we get them babies in the circle right there? My brother and sister, my videographers, we need y'all in this circle. Come on, Baba. It's only going to be a minute. Come on, Queen. I love the hair. You're going to have to teach me how to keep your hair standing up like that. I need mine to stand up. I can't get mine to stand up. I got a white ancestor from slavery. All right. At this time, we call on the universal spirit of our ancestors to come amongst us. It is my prayer. It is our prayer. It is the prayer of our ancestors that South Africa must rise. South Africa must become one. South Africa will be free. I call upon the spirit of the great ancestor, the supreme being, the almighty I am that I am, Nkulunkulu. And we call on Nkulunkulu to bless everyone in the circle, to bless our mothers and our fathers, where they be in spirit or flesh, to bless our neighbors, our brothers, our sisters, our co-workers. We call on Nkulunkulu to help us solve any conflicts, solve any disputes we have with each other, because we are not each other's enemy. We know our enemy, and the enemy is not us. We are African. We are proudly African. We call upon the almighty supreme ruler of this universe, Nkulunkulu, to forgive us for not taking care of the business of South African freedom. Forgive us for not taking care of the business of South African independence. And most of all, forgive us for not taking responsibility collectively for South Africa's children. For we are them and they are us. I call on the Almighty to bless every black woman in this circle and every black South African sister who is not in this circle. Lord, we call on you to heal those who are dealing with disease, heal those who are dealing with loneliness, heal those who are dealing with alcoholism, heal those who are dealing with depression, heal those who are contemplating suicide. Almighty Nkulunkulu, we ask you to bless our black men of South Africa, the Zulu, the Xhosa, the Swazi, the Khoi, all of the great kingdoms of South Africa, too many for me to name. Help our brothers overcome addiction. Help our brothers overcome uncontrolled sexual lust and desire. Help our brothers to be better fathers and better men, not just to their children, but all the children in the community. Help our men and our women to work together. Because if they divide the man from the woman, they can destroy the whole village. A destruction of a nation begins in the homes of its people. Lord, supreme ruler Nkulunkulu, I ask you to bless everyone in the circle as we go home. May we leave this college, this community center, with a new, renewed, and determined passion to see Africa free. Yes, South Africa at first, but the entire continent. Because we know that with you in us, there is nothing outside of us that we cannot overcome. White supremacy is not invincible. Black self-hate is not invincible. Neo-apartheid is not invincible. The minute we recognize who we are in Nkulunkulu, a direct reflection of you, then we can take care of the business that we need to take care of. Bless our Ethiopian World Federation family and leaders. Bless our Rastafari family, whether they be 12 Tribe, Naya, Bingi, or Bobo Shanti. Bless them all. Bless all of us. And Lord, I ask you to possess us, to bless us, to guide us into a spirit of Ubuntu, unity. I am, because we are. There can only be one Africa. There can only be one liberation. And it is our solemn pledge on this day, at this time, to Almighty Nkulunkulu, that we will be free or we will die trying. Black power. Appreciate you, brothers and sisters.
Brother Umar, remember, Azania is the liberation name. South Africa is
That's right. That's right. That's right. I should have been saying Azania. And I know that.
You know that.